Hi, I'm Andy.
And I'm Lindsey. Welcome to E-commerce Marketing with the Pitbulls, where we try to cut through the noise and simplify digital marketing for authentic brands looking to make more sales online.
So we have a great topic today. We've been talking quite a bit about GA4 recently and some of the impacts it can have as you upgrade from Google Analytics, Universal Analytics up to GA4, something that everybody needs to be doing just to be tracking your analytics. But today we wanted to get a little bit more specific and talk about the impacts that this is going to have on your Google Ads specifically. So a lot of people may realize, may not realize that you may have your Google Analytics account integrated with your Google Ads account and doing a number of different things there, from reporting all the way through to conversion tracking, letting Google Ads know when a purchase or when something happens on your website. So yeah, I wanted to just kind of go through some of the different things today. As you hear about, we need to upgrade to GA4 soon. You may have gotten the email that your Universal Analytics property is automatically going to be upgraded soon. Here's some things that you need to be aware of and make sure that you're on top of as we approach July, which is kind of the big cutoff for all of this stuff. So yeah, excited to dive into it today.
Yeah, I think this video is going to be great for anybody who maybe had their Google Ads set up for them. They had their analytics set up for them. Maybe it came with their website when they first had that made and the developer maybe just set it up. And have you ever looked at it before? If not, this is going to be really important to see. Even if you are checking on it and you're looking at Universal Analytics now and you're used to that setup and any reporting pulling from there, this is going to be really important to see how it affects your Google Ads, because it will change. And like Andy mentioned, in July, it's going to stop working the way that you are used to. So what better time than now to start practicing with GA4?
Awesome. Lindsey, why don't you give us just a quick bit of context here? I know, like I said, we've been talking a lot about GA4, but for anybody who's kind of coming to us the first time today, what do we mean by Google Analytics and GA4, and what's the 90-second elevator pitch here?
Yeah. Oh, sorry. My mom's calling me. Gosh dang it. Okay.
Hi, Mom.
Let's try that again.
Also, we should leave that in.
Perfect timing, Mom. Okay. Yeah, so Google Analytics is an analytics platform. It's a free platform from Google, and anyone can set it up. Anyone can use it for their website. It keeps track of all kinds of information, demographic information from the people visiting your website, what pages are visited, what kind of actions are taken on those pages. And it's been the predominant platform for people to use and one of the biggest Google products for a long time. Now Google's switching over to something called GA4. It's like the new version of Universal Analytics, and it tracks things a bit differently. So it's a little bit controversial in that people are really struggling with it. They're not sure what to do with it and how to use it and how it compares to Universal Analytics. So this is why we're talking about it so much. You may have seen many of our other videos about GA4, and we're trying to kind of get the word out and get people used to it, because what I'm seeing in a lot of clients and a lot of other agencies is a lot of resistance to transferring over until they absolutely have to, just because it is so different from Universal Analytics. It looks different, it feels different, it tracks things in a totally different way. But we're also here to tell you it's better to do this now and just bite the bullet and get it done, transfer over, upgrade, and just get in it and start getting used to it, because it's going to stop. Universal Analytics is going to stop working in July. And then if you wait until then, first of all, you're missing out on all of the data you could be collecting now into GA4, but you're also going to feel totally unprepared for when you make that switch this coming summer.
Awesome. And specifically, what we want to talk about today with Google Ads, one of the big things that people are using Universal Analytics for, or Google Analytics in general, or kind of, I guess, two big things, is linking that analytics tool to your Google Ads property and using it for conversion tracking. So that's saying, hey, anytime somebody makes a purchase on my website, I'm going to go ahead and tell Google Analytics that, so that I can see the reporting and see everything I need to see there. And I'm also going to send that information from Google Analytics over to Google Ads. So when I run ads, Google knows whether somebody made a purchase or not, or whether the ad was successful or not. And the other big thing they're using it for is audiences. So things like remarketing audiences. If I want to say, hey, I want to run this particular ad and I only want to show it to people who have been on my website before, you can go ahead and get that data out of Google Analytics linked back into your Google Ads account. So again, if you're using it for either of those two purposes, it is something that you're really going to need to do the upgrade to GA4 and make sure that you're properly linking that back to Google Ads so that you don't lose any of that data. If it's, retargeting data that you're using to target your ads, or just general tracking data to figure out, the results of your ad once you send somebody to the website. So that's, really kind of the two big components that we want to talk about a little bit here. So one of the big things here, as we get into the GA4 upgrade, you might have seen emails that say, hey, your Universal Analytics property is automatically going to upgrade to GA4. And it's important to recognize that they will do some automated pieces. They're going to use the old tag that send data to Universal Analytics. It operates in a little bit different way, as Lindsey mentioned, and it just works a little bit differently. So they're going to try to translate that data as best as possible, but it's all going to be in an automated fashion. You're not going to have the same granularity of data, and it's a little bit unclear to what extent event tracking is going to work. So especially things like purchases, you may have, hey, I can see, what pages people were on, but I don't have any purchase data, depending on how that works for your particular website. So definitely something you don't want to just rely on the automated upgrade from Universal Analytics up to Google Analytics. You want to make sure that you are creating a new GA4 property and setting up your tracking, making sure that you're tracking purchases, tracking add to carts, tracking begin checkout events in this new GA4 property. So once you have all of that, you can go ahead and link that new property back to Google Ads. And that's where you're going to go ahead and import some of the audiences or conversions that you're now tracking in the new property. And it's really important when you do that. So it's not enough just to create the new GA4 property. It's important to know that you are going to have to relink that. It's not going to just be an automatic way to bring that data back into Google Ads. So that's really the big reason why we're talking about this today. I'm imagining a lot of people out there in early July are all of a sudden going to start saying, hey, I'm not getting any conversions, or I'm not getting, for some reason, my retargeting ad isn't going out to anybody. And not realizing that, oh yeah, that's all based on Google Analytics data. So it's a definitely something to get ahead of and get done now, so that come July, once new data stops flowing into Universal Analytics, all of a sudden your ads don't shut off or look like the results are dropping to zero.
That's such a great point, and I think everyone should kind of keep in mind that Google doesn't necessarily want you to hire out third-party contractors or people to help with this. And so a lot of the messaging that they've been giving is exactly what you're saying, is it sounds like it's just going to be taken care of. Now they're going to be automatically helping you move over to GA4. But like you said, they're not telling you that other component that's so important to your Google Ads account. So if you had someone set this up on your behalf before, please look into having someone help you this time, because if you have no idea how to do that, just like Andy said, your Google Ads are going to look really different come July and you're not going to like it. So I think that's such a good point, because Google Ads or Google Analytics themselves are putting out that messaging in their emails and in the pop-ups within the platform, where they're saying, oh, don't worry, we'll take care of this. We'll just go ahead and automatically transfer when it comes and you won't have to worry about it. But we got to worry about it a little bit.
So definitely we need to make sure that we're getting GA4 properties set up and getting that link back to Google Ads so we have the data to allow our ads to run properly. But Lindsey, what about reporting? That's another big piece that we keep hearing a ton about here. So yeah, tell me about like some of the differences that we're seeing in reporting between the platforms and kind of what some of that might change.
Yeah, it's maybe the biggest thing you hear about when people talk about their resistance to moving over to GA4. It just looks so different. Whereas when you were logging into Universal Analytics, they had a lot of reporting right up front on the dashboard that was, I don't know, what everybody was accustomed to, and everyone got so used to having it there, they really relied on it. With GA4, you really have to create your own reports, and you could argue that's great because now you're going to be building out reports that only give you the information that really matters to you, that's really relevant to your business. Not so great in that it's not done for you and it's not immediately there and immediately available. And I know, Andy, you talked about this when we first started talking about GA4 and it's coming, and we were giving out lots of warnings that there's kind of this break, or there's this space made for people who could create reports for other people or just give better guidance around that, because Google's kind of failing us in this area. They're not giving the best guidance in how to do reporting in GA4. So there's a lot of people filling in that space with how-tos and on YouTube, and just offering it in general with their GA4 upgrade packages. So it's very different and it tracks things differently, which is partially why it's so different. But we have not gotten used to it yet. That's not something that they unveiled a long time ago, and they helped get us used to it. And they haven't really been great, like I said, about guiding us through it. So it is a bit of a jungle. But what have you seen in terms of differences and things that you're hearing about?
Yeah, I think you really hit the nail on the head there. So for folks who may be watching this video who have been in Google Analytics and have been looking at things, you probably have your favorite reports. Every time you pull up Universal Analytics, here's the little tab I click on. I mean, it could be a little bit different for every business, but especially in the e-commerce world, most of these things are fairly similar. There's a lot of reports that we've come to rely on. I know for us, every single day I'm in both the e-commerce acquisition report. So that's basically telling me, where did the traffic come from? Which channels were they, from paid ads I ran on Google? Were they from paid ads I ran on Facebook? Were they from, organic searches that came in outside of an ad? And then ultimately, what's the revenue breakdown across all of those channels? So that's a big area that we're always looking. That's really how we measure success. And then another big thing is the funnel report, where you can kind of see, across, different products or different channels or whatever it is, how often did somebody start a session and then add the item to their cart and then begin a checkout, and kind of where's the drop off at each one of those steps as they kind of move down the purchase journey and ultimately make the purchase. It's always a great report to, kind of let you know where there's areas in your funnel that, are leaky, for lack of a better term, and where you can make some improvements. So those are things that always came out of the box in Universal Analytics. And actually right now, Google, or GA4, I should say, it's actually more powerful in a lot of ways. There's more customization available, more things that you can do. You can track different funnels in different ways, or if you want to segment it out by different types of variables about customers or whatever it is that you want to do. However, you have to create it yourself. You can't really, they don't give you that baseline out of the box report anymore. So that's a big thing that you may, as you start to upgrade, if you've been really used to looking at your data and saying, hey, how is Google Ads performing based on the data that I'm seeing in GA4 or in Universal Analytics. When you go ahead and log into GA4 for the first time, you're going to say, I really don't know where to look. I don't know what to see here. So you'll have to start creating some of those custom reports to make sure that you're getting the information that you need and getting that all set up.
Yeah, and I think it just kind of underscores your point about conversion tracking as well. This is not something that Google's just going to transfer over from your Universal Analytics account and create those reports for you. So I could see a lot of people moving over in July and then going, okay, but where's all the stuff that I normally look at? So, just to kind of underscore, this is no time like the present to get your hands dirty, get in there, get the reports built that you need so you can start collecting that data and getting used to it before the big switch.
Definitely. Yeah, I think that's the big point to underscore here is don't wait. All this, we keep saying in July, it's going to be shut off. But especially on the Google Ad side, this is a really easy thing that you can go ahead and make this transition today, get it going, and be using it right out of the box. On the reporting side, maybe you can make the case that, hey, if I'm still used to using this report and it really fits in my business workflow, let me track the data in both properties, but I can still look at the old reports that I'm used to. But as far as like the Google Ad linkage type pieces, there's no reason not to just start that immediately now, because once you do that transition, it's going to be the same transition, whether you do it today or you do it, on July 1st, and it's better to do it now and not be rushing at the very end there.
Yeah, I think it's such a great point.
Cool. Well,
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Bao just got up and he just like let one rip so loud. I can't ignore it.
That's hilarious.
Seriously?
The audio didn't come through, but also you should leave it in.
I'm so sorry. This dog, I swear, he does not want me.
Imagining him like walking away and then have the little emoji fart bubble come.
It was. I should do that. It's like, it's one of the things I love about dogs. You just never know when that's going to happen, and they really just don't care. They don't even know what's happening either. So sorry.
Let's look at Percy over here. It's like trying to get into her crate. What the heck?
Getting in there?
It's like not the normal place where her crate would be, so the door doesn't like swing quite the right way.
Is she trying to open it?
I think she is. Let's go in there.
You, sir, need to chill out. What are you doing?
We brought it in here because when she wasn't feeling well, we couldn't send her to daycare. So like typically like if we were having somebody do work at the house, we would just send her to daycare that day. But so we had multiple people coming through. She was just sitting in her crate in the office, barking her head off while they walk in and out. It's ridiculous.
I love it. This is why we have them, right? They're so
helpful.
Exactly.
On her way back in.
Oh.
Hey, Percy.
I love it. Hi, Percy. She's so cute. The original PPC Pitbull herself.
The original PPC Pitbull.
All
right. Cool. So back at it, depending on to what extent, what portion of that gets cut out. So that's all we have today. We talked a lot about GA4 and the implications specifically for Google Ads. The big things you really got to focus on is make sure you're creating a new GA4 property, make sure that you're tracking your conversion data or any other data from your website that you need to in that property, linking that back to Google Ads, and then starting to get comfortable with some of the different reporting and making sure that you understand where to find your Google Ads specific data in this new tool.
Yeah, and if you liked what you heard today, if you found this helpful, be sure to subscribe and follow us, because we give tips like this all the time, along with really insightful interviews with people in the industry that are talking about things you care about. So be sure to follow us. And if you're ready to take the next step in your digital marketing journey, just go to ppcpitbulls.com/assessment. And there you can download our digital marketing maturity assessment, and we'll help you determine your next best step. We can also help you with GA4 upgrades. So feel free to reach out to us if you just want to take it off your plate and leave it to the experts. But yeah, thanks for watching, and we will catch you next time.